Welcome to this three-part series of the Elevated Entrepreneur. And this is part one. We're going to be going into all things business related. And I'm super excited for this. I'm very excited, like what's coming in for me. And I want to share with you guys over this episode and the next two. It's going to elevate you to another realm. All right. So there was a time where I rejected all things business, right? Believe it or not, including sales. And I just wanted to go to work, right? I just wanted to go to work, do something that I thought was okay, get paid so I could go and do what I actually enjoyed on the weekends. And, probably most of that time was partying, to be honest. But the thing is, I didn't really have a focus on business or career or anything like that. So I have a job, get paid, go live it up on the weekends. And the interesting thing is, like, when I was really young, like when you're young and people say, what is it that you want to do when you grow up? Well, the only thing I ever remember saying is that I wanted to work in a bank, right? I'm not sure why. I think it seemed like a fancy kind of job when I was young. And I don't know, maybe I wanted to count money as well. But sure enough, in my early 20s, I did in fact get a job in the bank. And I worked in the bank on and off over about 10 years altogether. And but I remember when I was working in the bank, and I worked in the North Adelaide branch for about 6 years. And we used to have a lot of business owners in there. And I remember, like, whenever anyone come in and they wanted to open up a business account, I'd be like, no, I don't know. I don't understand business. I can't open up a business account, right? And I'd pass it off. I had lots of business clients, but I just didn't want to understand business that much. I had that much of a block around business. And I would just be like, no, I don't even understand business. And I think it had something to do with the fact that, my dad had been in business pretty much my whole life that I can remember. He was always had his own business. And it seemed to be really hard. Like, he worked a lot, and my dad was a panel beater, crash repair, and so he had crash repair shops, and he had tow trucks, and he was like on call 24/7, right? He just worked a lot, and it just seemed like he worked a lot of hours. He was always stressed. And then, I don't know, he had lots of stories about the Keating government and how it screwed him over and everything like that. So I had all these kind of things, that business was hard, caused you stress, wasn't worth it. Last thing that I wanted to do was to be in business, right? That was in my mind. And so I just had this block around business. And I also hated sales, right? Which is why I eventually left the bank, because there was a lot of sales targets. And my manager would be forever like, Toni, what does it take to motivate you to achieve your KPIs? Because we always had to be like having sales, like referring people to lenders and financial planners and insurance and all these kinds of things. And we had these key KPIs of how much, we were referring and sales that we were getting. I hated sales. I'm like, that's not what I'm here for. I didn't sign up for sales. I signed up to serve people and form these great relationships and count money, right? And be really good at what I do there. And I didn't ever get it. I didn't even get that sales and talking to people and finding out their needs and then offering them solutions was actually service. I didn't understand that, right? And so I didn't like sales, and I left the bank and I studied accounting, mind you. So even though I had a business, I studied further business-centric type stuff, right? So I studied accounting, and I ended up as an assistant accountant. And the fact was, I was very good at all things like money and accounting and finance. But when I started my first business, or this business, when I first started it, I didn't apply those skills very well to my own business. In fact, I was kind of rebelling against that stuff. I was like, you know what? I just want to coach and train people. I just want to help people. And I was very good at that. I'd always been very good at that. And I had very good listening skills. People would always open up to me. They would tell me all their things. And I had this huge desire to help people, right? I just love personal development, and I just wanted to be able to help other people. And so, I even remember, like, one of my first coaches sort of saying, about having clients on tap. And I'm like, yeah, I want clients on tap. That would be amazing. And I did, in fact, create that in my business. I did have someone else that I worked with who just sent me clients and just paid me. And that I did that for a while, but there was some downfalls to that, right? And so, but the thing is, when I first started my business, the thing was that I couldn't make any money to support myself in business, no matter how great a coach I was or how great a trainer I was, unless I sorted out the business side of things. Right. And it was okay when I had this other person sending me clients. That was okay to a point, but there was restrictions on that because I wasn't getting paid what I knew I was worth, because I wasn't getting these people in. Like, they were just getting fed to me. So I was getting paid probably half of what I knew I could create for myself. Right. So, even if you think, oh, I want to get in this position where I'm just getting someone sending me clients, if someone else is sending you clients, you won't be making the kind of money that you can make, right? So the business side of things is really important. And so this is what I got to realize, is that eventually I'm saying, like, in a very short space of time when I started my business, when I didn't have the business things and the sales and marketing things sorted out, I had to go back and get a job, right? Because I wasn't making any money. There's a limit that you can, how much you can help people or how far you're going to get if you haven't got the business side worked out, right? And so that was back in sort of 2015, 2016 when I first started this business. And then over the last 8 or 9 years, like, there's been different things that have happened. I have worked with other people that have sent me clients, and then I've got to a point where I'm like, no, I need to, do this myself. And, and what I've really learned to be now in a successful business where I've got, endless people that I'm working with. My business has been doing over 6 figures for, several years. I'm supporting myself. It's continuing to grow. And I've found that what it really takes, right, to be an elevated entrepreneur is that there's 3 main parts to succeeding as a business owner. And so this is part 1, right, of the Elevated Entrepreneur series. And where we're going to be talking about business, right? And why we need to have that business sense, and how we need to have that business sense and that feeling about business and the embodiment of business if we truly want to help people. And then in the other 2 parts, I'm going to be talking about mindset and communication, and then your purpose and spirituality, and how these 3 components really come together to create the elevated entrepreneur, right? Now, I've used the term entrepreneur very purposefully here. I'm going to tell you why. Hey there, fabulous listeners of the Coaching Circle. It's Toni Everard, your go-to NLP Master Trainer and business mindset coach. Elevate yourself to new heights by joining the Coaching Circle Insiders, a premium subscription membership tailored for coaches and wellbeing practitioners at an incredibly affordable price. Inside, gain exclusive access to a supportive community, valuable resources, and expert guidance on mastering your coaching, communication, and business mindset skills. Let's get close and personal with weekly training and live Q&A to get all your questions answered. Sign up now by clicking the link in the show notes, and I'll see you on the inside. All right, so the term entrepreneur I've used now as a neuro-linguistic programming trainer. You can imagine that I have a very deep passion when it comes to words and their meaning, and what is the internal representation, what is it, what does it bring to mind when you hear a certain word. And there's a lot of chillpreneur, soulpreneur, every other preneur, mumpreneurs, all those kinds of things. And I've always been like, yeah, it doesn't really resonate with me. What is it about this entrepreneur word? Because I'm like, yes, business owner, but there's a difference between a business owner and an entrepreneur. And so I loved looking up the meanings of words and just checking out a few different kind of perspectives. And what I came across, the meaning that I come across that really hit for me, is that an entrepreneur is someone who is willing to take risks, right? Generally financial risks, to start a business that will have a positive impact on either their industry or the world. Right? Now, this is the thing. You're willing to take risks to have a positive impact on the world. That's what entrepreneurs are about, right? And this is why I'm really wanting to ramp things up for you, right? And this is the leveling up that I've done over the last 8-9 years. And it's definitely something that I find in common with people that I work with. So especially if you're a coach or practitioner or a therapist, and you want to have a positive impact on the world, right? You're like, you probably even said, like, imagine what a difference the world would be like if everyone knew this. I know that for NLP. Whenever I run an NLP training, people say all throughout the training, at the end of the training, oh my God, if only I'd learned this sooner. Like, imagine if all parents knew this. Imagine if all teachers knew this. Imagine if all kids learned this stuff in high school, right? Like, we know it's a massive impact. And so it's like, of course, I'm so passionate about people having these tools and these skills. It's just so powerful. Okay, it's so powerful. So you know that you want to have an impact on the world, right? You've got something that you're doing something to have an impact on the world, right? That's the purpose of it. But the fact is that if you're doing it as a business and you're starting a business does have risks, right? So those risks can be financial, okay? Because it could be financial risks in how much money you're investing in yourself. And of course, if you're investing in yourself for the purpose of the business, well, then your risk is, am I going to make this money back that I've invested in myself? Okay, now I've spent like well over $100,000 on it's probably more like a couple $100,000 by now, because I regularly spend like 15, 30, even more sometimes $1,000 a year on my own development and coaching and all those kinds of things, right? So I'm continuously investing in myself and in my business and those kinds of things. So, when you start looking at, there could be those financial risks. If I spend this money, am I going to get this return on investment? Because that's what business is all about, right? When we're in a job mentality, we're just like, oh my God, am I just going to spend this money? But when you're in a business, it's like, am I going to get a return on this investment? How do I get a return on this investment? Okay, so there's financial risk. There could also be the risk of, leaving your job is another financial risk that you take to start a business. And that's one of the big things that I work with people all the time. And they're talking to me about, I'm in my job, but I want to be starting my business, and I'm not ready. I can't afford not to have an income, and so I can't leave my job. And so I'm just trying to, make my business work, but I'm still really focused on my job, and my business is getting neglected. So, that can be a thing. That's the risks that people hold them back. One of the things I coach people on a lot of, how do you get out of that kind of job security thing and take those risks in financially to make money in your business. There's also risks that in business where you might feel it's a risk to make yourself visible, right? To share your ideas, to step outside of what you've always known and who people have known you as. That feels very risky for some people, right? It's like, what if I put this out there and people reject me, or they make fun of me, or they say that, who am I, or they tell me I'm wrong, or, those are risks that people face, right, when they're starting a business. So when we're looking at, as far as what are the characteristics of an entrepreneur from a evolution of consciousness, right? Which, if you want to know more about this evolution of consciousness and values levels of thinking, go back and listen to episodes 35 and 36, where I talk about motivation and values and what really is behind our behavior. And I talk about values in a whole lot more detail. But it's apparent that as an entrepreneur, when we're in business, we need to be okay with taking risks, right? Being okay with the feeling of uncertainty. Because here's the thing, when we're in a job, there's a lot of certainty. It's like, okay, if I rock up on these days, at these times, do these set things, I will get this amount of money. That's not how it works in business, right? We have to develop a different neurology. So it's not just whether you are, born to be in business or not. It's like, are you in the environment of business to develop the neurology that's needed for you to succeed in that space? You've got to build the capacity for it. You've got to build the neurology for it, which can feel like a risk, right? But you need to be able to develop that neurology for being okay with uncertainty, being okay with, you don't know if something's going to work, right? You're just going to do it and get feedback and adjust from that feedback and go again. You're going to have rejection. There's going to be times when people say no to you. There'll be a lot of times when people say no to you, and you're going to be okay with that and not take it personally, right? You've got to be also okay with sales and marketing. So you've got to really step into also your personal authority, right? This is a key one. You've got to step into your personal authority, because personal authority in business can only be given to you by you, right? When you're in a job and someone says, yes, I'm going to give you this job and here's your title and this is what you can do. Here are your, here's your level of responsibility and power and authority, and we bestow that on you, right? Somebody else gives you that stamp of approval. But when you're in your own business, there's no one's going to do that. No one's going to do that for you. You have to step into your own personal authority, right? You're going to step into your own personal authority, and it's going to be what you say about yourself, right? So the elevated entrepreneur embraces business. They embrace it in a way that they make it, how they run their business, promote their business, how they know their numbers, that have their business plan, how they strategize, how they focus on being profitable, will all directly affect how big an impact they have on the world, how many people that they help, right? And so they develop the neurology. They step into their own personal authority. They are a leader. And so even if you're a solopreneur, you still need to treat your business like a business, right? Like, you got to stop thinking that this is just because I know for a long time, I'm just like, this is just the Toni Everard show, right? And I just get up and do whatever I feel like and whatever else. Well, that will only get you so far. If you want to have a big impact, you need to really treat your business like a business, right? So you have to know that your business, like any business, has a marketing department. It has a sales department. It has a finance and admin department. It has a delivery department, right? So the delivery, the coaching, the training, the therapy, the whatever sessions, programs you run is only one small part of your business. Okay, so the elevated entrepreneur is very good at the things that you do, the coaching, whatever sessions it is that you're doing, the programs, things that you're providing, you're very good at that, but it's only one part of it. That's not everything, right? You're being an entrepreneur, you being a business owner needs to be just as important. Okay, so you are valuing having systems and processes in place for all of those departments to be running, right? That you time block things to make sure in your calendar time is allocated for all of those things to happen, and that they're done with consistency and with a purpose of creating a specific result, right? You know that as an entrepreneur, as an elevated entrepreneur, that you know that when you price your services and programs, that money isn't just being paid straight to you to put in your pocket, right? Because this is what I see. People get all kind of, caught up about how much they're charging, because, when I was doing my job, I'll just get paid this, 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour, whatever. And now I'm asking for $100 an hour or $200 an hour or whatever it is. And it's like, oh my God, but it's not the same. That money's not going straight in your pocket when you're a business, right? What people pay for your services and programs is going to relate to the value that they get, but it's also related to what does it actually cost for your business to exist and provide that service, right? So, your business has to have a website, and it's got social media, and it's got admin, and it's got, all of these other things, whatever associations you're part of, whatever training that it's, you've done to do that, all of these other costs that have been involved, right, to make it possible for your business to provide that service. So when someone is paying you, they're paying your business to essentially exist, and you've got to pay everything else in your business, and you've got to get paid a wage, right? So that money is never just going straight in your pocket. So this is why I always say it's really important. I highly recommend that with your business, you look at, okay, how much money do I want to get paid a week? How much do I want to get paid a week in my pocket? And then you add on GST and tax, and then all your admin expenses, and everything else that goes in, how much profit you want to make, work out how much that takes for a year, work out, from a year, right? How many months am I going to work? How many or how many weeks, because you're going to have annual leave. So you're not going to be income producing every week of the year. So say you have 4 weeks off, 6 weeks off, 8 weeks off, whatever that is. And then in those weeks that you do work, how many hours do you want to work? How many of those are chargeable hours? Because if you're coaching, I can guarantee you cannot coach 8 hours a day, right? Unless you want to get burnt out really quickly. You might be coaching like client facing 4 hours a day, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, maybe at the most. Okay. And then, you've got to have time for admin. You've got to have time just to chill out, right? As well. Because it's like takes a lot of your time and energy. And so looking at that, okay, how many hours, and then working out, all right, what do I need to be charging per program, per session in these hours that I'm going to work, and how many of those have I got to do every week, every month? So it works out that I'm making this money every year, and I can pay myself this consistent wage week in, week out, even when I'm on leave, right? That's the other thing, because you don't want to be like on unpaid leave, right? So you want to work all these things out. This is all part of, being in a business. And then you have these systems and processes so that ideally you can outsource some stuff, even if it's just a VA, right? You can have a VA working for you like 10 hours a week and cost you like $100 a week. Like your business could do that easy, right? Or go up from there depending on where you are. So, we've got to really think about our business in this way, right? This is the business mindset. This is the entrepreneurial mindset. We have to get away from job mindset, which job is, I just want to rock up and coach and do my sessions. That's a job mentality. Business, entrepreneur, is I run a business. I am just as focused. I'm just as passionate about business and understanding business and running business in a way that's aligned and congruent with me, in a way that gets results. Okay, so it's really important that we think about all these things. And, sometimes I have people say to me, right, that they say, well, it's like my business just feels like it's so easy and fun, right, that I'd honestly do it for free. And I always say, amazing, excellent. And that's exactly why you should be paid well in your business, right? Because the idea is people are paying you to solve a problem that they don't find easy to solve for themselves, right? And they want to pay someone who is an expert. They want to pay someone who's going to increase the speed in which they can get results, increase the quality of the results that they can get, and decrease the cost of them getting those results. And that could be cost of time, mental, emotional anguish, even ever getting their goals, whatever that might be. Right? So that's why they're paying you. Now, if I'm paying someone, right, if I'm paying someone to help me solve a problem, you better believe I hope that they find it fun and easy to do. Because if like, why else would I pay them? Right? If it's super hard for them, it's going to take a long time and they're not going to like it, why do I want to pay that person any money? Right? They want to be like, yes, this is my jam. I love doing this stuff. It's amazing. I'm just like, yeah, and I'm sitting there going, wow, it's amazing how you do this so well and so quickly. And they're just going, yeah, this is my jam. I love it. I could do this all day long. Right? That's what you want to pay for. Okay, that's what you want to pay for, right? So, really thinking about that. And the elevated entrepreneur also, like I said, has real structure and discipline when it comes to business. And they know that this is what gives them freedom. Okay, because when I first started my business, I elicited my values in business. Again, refer to episodes 35 and 36 if you want to hear more about values. But at that time, flexibility was my highest value in business. Right now, it's a bit of a misplaced value, and I won't go into that, but the thing was that what flexibility meant for me was that no one was going to tell me what to do, how to do it, or when to do it. Okay? And that's not business. That's like a rebellious teenager. Right? And so the thing that you have to get to know is that if you want freedom and flexibility in your business, you best be having discipline and structure. right? Structure and processes and things where it just runs so that you've got flexibility with your time. Because if you don't have the structure in your business of getting all the things done, you're not going to have consistent results, and you're not going to have flexibility and freedom in your time, because you're always going to be going, oh my God, I have got to get this. I've got to fill this program. I've got to get more clients. I've got to right? Because that's where you end up. And that's not fun. It's not flexible, right? So, you really want to get into that space of being structured and disciplined and consistent in the things that you need to do, so that you do have that freedom and flexibility around what you do with the rest of your time, right? The elevated entrepreneur embraces business and knows that it's just as important as the service that they provide, because without the business aspect, you don't have clients, and without clients, you don't make a positive impact on the world, and you don't make any money. Okay, and if you're not making any money, you don't have a business. You've got a hobby or a charity, right? Businesses are profitable, so that means that they pay you and they make a profit. Okay, but here's the beautiful thing, right? Here's the beautiful thing. If you've been sitting listening, going, oh my God, business, oh my God, sales, marketing, oh my God, do I really have to do that? Here's the thing. You can do business in a way that's aligned with you. Right? If you think about sales and you think about it as like the old sleazy car salesman kind of archetype, like that's not even a thing anymore. Well, I don't know, it might be. I haven't seen any of those people for a long, long time. So that's not how we do sales anymore, right? You get to, in your own business, you get to do sales and marketing in a way that feels good, right? That it feels good for you. And the thing is that sales and marketing is really about communication, right? It's really about communication, and it's understanding your clients' problems in like incredible detail, and then being able to communicate that you understand those problems and that you have a solution that can help them, and that you also can communicate in a way that helps your clients make a decision that will move them forward on their journey. Okay, so this is where we start, the elevated entrepreneur starts moving into like mindset and communication. Because, business is the first thing, or is one of the biggest things, best things to bring up any of your stuff, anything that you need to work on, right? So mindset and communication skills are essential when we talk about this elevated entrepreneur, because you've got business skills and you've got mindset and communication skills. You can solve problems, right? You can help people. You can transform, you can create transformations with people. But if you've got mindset blocks around money, or asking for money, or your self-worth, or helping people push through discomfort, okay? Because if you want to help people create transformation, you've got to be okay with pushing them through discomfort, because the fact that they're stuck where they are is because they're not pushing themselves through the discomfort of growth, right? Growth and comfort don't coexist. That's a Gina Brimonetti, I think her name is, quote. So if you don't have that within yourself, then you'll be limited by the level of transformation you can help other people achieve. Okay, so one of the reasons that my business grows is, and this is the thing as well, as you up level your neurology, people will pay more money to be around you and your neurology, right? Because the further you've gone yourself, the more the greater depth that you can help other people. Okay, so I can now charge more money and make more money in my business because I've pushed myself through my own money blocks. Okay, I've pushed myself through my own money blocks, because I can tell you, when I first started my business, I invested tens of thousands of dollars in myself, and I was a single mom working a part-time accounts role. I did not have anyone supporting me financially. I was extending my mortgage. I was borrowing more money against my home. In fact, I ended up selling my home, and I didn't have any support around me. My parents weren't financially supporting me. I didn't have a partner. I didn't have anybody. I got some family tax benefit and stuff like that because I was a single parent, but I didn't have any money behind me, right? So I have pushed through my fears around money to invest in myself. And yes, it didn't go smoothly. I had to go back and get a job and do all kinds of things. And I had some debt and I paid off that debt. But the thing was, because I had to go through that process to shift my neurology around money, right? Because here's the thing, people do not have a limited capacity about like how much money they can make, right? So if people are going like, oh, I don't know if I can afford it, rah, it's not because they can't make the money to afford it. It means they haven't developed the neurology yet for that. And so if you haven't pushed past your own blocks around investing in yourself and then working out how do I operate at a higher level of money, you can't push anyone else beyond it, right? And it's a neurology thing. You have to be in that environment of putting yourself under some kind of pressure for your neurology to develop at a higher capacity, right? So if you're not pushing yourself through your own discomfort, and this is why I've continued working on myself, and this is why I don't have any problems with other people's emotions. I don't have any problems asking people the hard questions. I don't have any problems deep diving with my clients to getting to what's really underneath, and then they're being in tears and emotional, because I know that I've been there. And when I help them go there and they come out the other side, they have a massive transformation, right? I know when people invest in themselves by working with me at a high level, then they push past their own neurology money limits. And they find ways to create more money for themselves, right? So these are all the things. So I'm going a lot more into mindset and communication now. And this is what's going to be in episode 2 of this series, part 2 of the Elevated Entrepreneur. We're going to go a lot more into mindset and communication, right? So this is the thing though. This is first part, business. Got to get yourself okay with business. I love business. Like I literally love business, and I love working with other business owners because it's a different mindset shift. When you embrace like business, you become one of these people that is like, you're willing to do whatever it takes to be better and to grow and to create more and help more and have greater experiences. It's a very exciting place to be. Okay, so my question is for you this week, right? Who would you be if you did what you loved and also loved the business side of it? What if you loved the business side of your business? What if you loved the marketing and you loved the sales and you loved, being visible and sharing your message and being creative and putting your ideas out into the world? Right? What would you need to know so that you have as much desire to excel at being good at business as you did to master your craft and how you help people? What would that be like for you? Think about that and tune in next week, part 2, mindset and communication.